This is Big Island Video News for Wednesday, August 1st, 2012. I'm Stephanie Salazar. After weeks of media and state elections officials trying to squeeze information from a seemingly discombobulated county elections office, Hawaii County Clerk Jamae Kawauchi told reporters at the state capitol on Tuesday what's been going on. In the last few days, Kawauchi repeatedly refused to answer direct questions about why she closed her office in Hilo for a day last week or why she went to the authorities on Oahu. In front of Honolulu TV stations, Kawauchi finally revealed that her office discovered several dozen Hawaii Island voters with duplicate voter registrations and found about 4 people who voted twice in the same elections in 2010.
Between 50 and 60 voters had duplicate names. They were in different districts and precincts. There was no pattern. And my understanding is that is typical of, so I don't think it's out of the ordinary.
It may be typical, but shutting the clerk's office with no explanation besides a note on the door is anything but typical, especially just weeks away from the primary election. The decision prompted rumors, innuendo, and finally a scathing letter from Hawaii's chief elections officer, Scott Nago. County Council Chair Dominic Yagong, who heads the legislative branch of government that oversees the clerk and the elections division, said the story would go public soon enough.
Jamae Kawauchi, as county clerk, did meet with the Attorney General. She also met with the federal authorities, and she is under direction of the Attorney General at this particular time. I really wish that she would be able to share what she has found with the people of the County of Hawaii, because I think when you hear that, when you see why she had to close down that facility, when you see what she's trying to accomplish, which is simply being thorough and making sure that you understand what is going on and it'll be a fair election, I think it'll all play out and you'll understand.
On Tuesday, the rift between Nago and Kawauchi was apparently mended after the two finally met on Oahu. Kawauchi also says the clerk's office in Hilo discovered records showing about 4 people who were allowed to vote twice in the 2010 elections in different districts and precincts, and that's why she went to lawyers in the Attorney General's office last Thursday.
That doesn't seem to be a pattern. That's not systemic, and it appears that it could also be a clerical matter, but again, as appropriate, I wanted to make sure that I did discuss that with the Attorney General's office.
As Hawaii News Now and Keoki Kara reported on Tuesday evening, the issues Kawauchi uncovered are fairly common. Glenn Takahashi, who's been Honolulu's elections administrator for the last 10 years, said as much in this interview.
It's a list of 687,000 persons, so you got to expect that there will be some errors within that list. Say a person votes by absentee ballot and they spoil a ballot, then we remail them a ballot, right? That's not necessarily voting twice, but if you're just looking at paper, whatever, it could appear like, hey, something happened here.
When asked about the slow flow of information coming from the clerk's office during the findings, Kawauchi had this to say.
Their usual course is a review as you go along, corrections as you go along, and so I wouldn't necessarily say it's necessary. It's something that I just chose to do to cross our T's and dot our I's.
According to CARE's report, other state and county officials said there's no evidence of fraud happening on the Big Island. State officials notified the FBI, which began gathering information on the case, but never opened a formal investigation, according to sources. According to Hawaii News Now, the last voter fraud case in Hawaii happened about 30 years ago with a conviction of Clifford Uwane in 1986 for improperly obtaining absentee votes from elderly people in a retirement home. Kawauchi is holding a press conference on Wednesday to talk to Hawaii Island media about the situation. Big Island police are renewing their request for the public's help in identifying possible suspects in a burglary and fire on May 30th here at the Shipman Industrial Park in Kea'au. At approximately 5:19 a.m. on May 30th, police and fire department personnel responded to a report of a structure fire on Kipimana Street and found this building, occupied by Reliance water tanks, fully engulfed in flames. Investigation revealed that the front gate chain was severed to gain entrance to the premises. Police say 1 or more suspects entered the building from the rear by cutting a hole in the wall and then removed a flatbed pickup truck and some heavy equipment. The incident is being investigated as arson and burglary. Police ask that anyone with information about this case call Detective Grant Todd at 961-2385 or email him at gtodd@co.hawaii.hi.us. Also, Big Island Police are renewing their request for the public's help in locating an inmate wanted for escape. At 10:58 on July 21st, police responded to the low-security facility Halenani off Route 11 in Hilo after receiving a report that 32-year-old Dallas Wesley Runyon of Ka'u had left the facility without authorization. Runyon is described as Caucasian, about 5'10", 175 pounds, with blue eyes. He had a goatee and mustache, shoulder-length brown or blonde hair, but may have shaved his face and head. He also had several tattoos, with the most prominent ones being a gargoyle on his right forearm, a dragon on his inner left forearm, and others on his right arm and both legs. Police say Runyon may be in the company of a 50-year-old woman described as Caucasian, 5'7", 130 pounds, with hazel eyes and brown hair. Runyon is not considered dangerous. However, police advise the public to avoid contacting him, and instead, if they see him or know his whereabouts, call Detective Joel Field at 961-2381 or email him at jfield@co.hawaii.hi.us. In these or other cases, tipsters who prefer to remain anonymous may call Crime Stoppers at 961-8300 in Hilo or 329-8181 in Kona and may be eligible for a reward of up to $1,000. Crime Stoppers is a volunteer program run by ordinary citizens who want to keep their community safe. Crime Stoppers doesn't record calls or subscribe to caller ID. All Crime Stoppers information is kept confidential.